Maybe you have heard of Kratom, the green leaf that is often turned into powder and is becoming more and more popular. Recently here in Thailand, Kratom has been decriminalized, a country where the plant is native, and it has a lot of potential health benefits, and some of those benefits we mentioned in a previous video. So if you want to know about those, maybe check that video out also. But in this video, I wanted to look at the flip side of the coin. I wanted to talk about some of the negatives, some of the potential harms, or some of the downsides or dangers of consuming Kratom. Kratom is an evergreen plant native to Southeast Asia in the coffee plant family. The leaves of the kratom tree contain mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine. The substance is taken for a variety of different reasons and has a wide range of potential health benefits. The leaves can be chewed, they can be dried and brewed into tea, turned into powder, or made into capsules. And like I mentioned, we've already spoken about some of those potential health benefits on this channel before, and I thought it would be responsible of me, or I thought I would be remiss, if I didn't mention some of the risks associated with taking or consuming Kratom. So that is the reason why I decided to make this video today, to look into some of the dangers, some of the hazards, and some of the potential health risks of consuming our favorite green leaf, Kratom. We're going to start by talking about some of the potential side effects from consuming Kratom. Obviously, there are health benefits and reasons why you would want to consume Kratom, but most things come with some negatives and some side effects also, and Kratom is no different. Some of the common side effects from consuming Kratom can include nausea, dizziness, and constipation. Especially if it's your first time consuming Kratom, you could feel somewhat drunk and dizzy and a little bit nauseous. I think some of these side effects are down to the fact that we don't have a tolerance, or potentially you don't if you didn't grow up consuming the substance. It's similar to how the first time you consume alcohol, you will often get dizziness and nausea from consumption the first time. I remember the first time that I tried Kratom, I took the leaf and chewed on the leaf for a short while, and I did experience some of the side effects. I did feel like I felt drunk, I felt a little bit disorientated. I didn't feel nauseous, but I imagine perhaps if I'd taken more, I would. So yeah, these symptoms are something that you may feel from time to time consuming Kratom. They are things to take into consideration if you are considering consuming Kratom. Another risk of consuming Kratom is the potential for dependency and addiction. Frequent and prolonged use of Kratom, like many other substances, almost every substance out there, can lead to dependency and addiction. According to the American Addiction Center's website on the topic of Kratom dependency and addiction, research continues to better understand how Kratom and Kratom's compounds affect the body in short and long term. Like most other drugs, Kratom's effect may depend on the amount taken, the potency, the formulation of the product, the way it was ingested, co-occurring health and mental health conditions, an individual's history with substance use, and more. There is convincing evidence that Kratom has significantly less potential for dependency and overdose than other stimulants and traditional opioids. So compared to other drugs, it does seem that Kratom is very unlikely to cause addiction and dependencies. However, it's not zero. There have and will be people who do become, like we said, psychologically and physically dependent on Kratom. Definitely think twice if you do think you have an addictive personality. Now, one of the main benefits and potential health benefits of Kratom was helping people suffering from withdrawal symptoms of other drugs. It could be something that helps people who are suffering from withdrawal from alcohol and painkillers, but also prolonged use of Kratom, and if you use it a lot over a long period of time. Another health risk, a potential risk to watch out for, is that you yourself could experience withdrawal symptoms from Kratom if you are a heavy user. So once again, according to the American Addiction Center's website on the topic of Kratom withdrawal symptoms, studies suggest that some people may experience mild to moderate withdrawal symptoms when they stop taking Kratom. One case report noted that individuals who visit hospitals due to Kratom withdrawal typically showed symptoms that included nausea, insomnia, irritability, restlessness, mood swings, diarrhea, runny nose, muscle pain, and joint stiffness. Abusing substances for a long period of time does often come with withdrawal symptoms, and I would imagine, and it seems to be the case, that Kratom is no different. So if you are using Kratom for a reasonably large amount and a long period of time, then it is likely that you may experience some of those withdrawal symptoms yourself when it comes time to stop. Once again, another thing to consider carefully before you try consuming something that is a substance similar to Kratom. Also, there are some potential health risks to consuming the Kratom leaves themselves. Most prominently and most well known is probably the case of liver damage. So you do need to be careful when consuming Kratom, as this is one of the potential health risks you can face from misusing or overusing the Kratom plant. So it's actually pretty well known that if you do speak to someone who uses Kratom and they're familiar with the plant and they take it like from the tree, they chew on the leaf like many people do in Southeast Asia, what everyone will stress to you, and it's probably one of the first things that someone will tell you who introduces you to Kratom, is to not eat the stem. Okay, you do not eat the stem. So you tear the leaf, you put the leaf in your mouth and you chew on the leaf and then you spit it out. And that's another key factor to remain. You have to spit out the Kratom leaf. You don't swallow it and consume it whole. So yeah, the two main things that someone will probably tell you if they introduce you to Kratom, if they're responsible, is not to chew the stem and not to swallow the veins. You want to spit those out. You don't want to swallow any of the leaf if possible, because there is the risk of damaging the liver. And I believe it's especially the case for those parts of the leaf. So another thing I wanted to mention that you have to be careful with, as is the case with all substances like this, is contamination. So this is just a small point I wanted to mention. It's something you probably have to consider when consuming almost anything, but you do want to be careful where you're buying Kratom from. You want to be careful where you're ordering the Kratom powder from. You want to get it from a reliable source, someone who's getting like good quality Kratom, the equipment that's used to process the Kratom into powder. If that's how you're consuming the Kratom, you want to make sure that's pure and it's not being contaminated with anything. So yeah, you want to try and find a reliable source that you trust, or a brand that is good and makes good quality products. Once again, something just to bear in mind. And finally, the final risk we're going to mention in this video is to do with the legality of Kratom. So in some countries, in certain states, this probably is a controlled substance and it's not legal to take recreational. This can pose a problem if you're in a country where Kratom is criminalized and you want to seek some of the health benefits. Then obviously don't do anything that could get you in trouble with the law. If you can travel to a country where Kratom products are not criminalized, you definitely don't want to obviously break any laws in trying to heal yourself with the plant medicine. So that is something else that you definitely need to be careful with. Not everywhere in the world Kratom is freely and legally available. Even here in Thailand, where the plant is native, it was a controlled substance for many years. So those are the potential risks of consuming Kratom. I hope you found this video useful. Once again, I'm not a medical person. I do have a little bit of experience with Kratom, but I'm by no means an expert. Definitely consider with a medical expert if you are considering using Kratom for some of the potential health benefits. But that does it for this video and the risks of Kratom.